The biggest idiots in the galaxy join forces to save it. Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Guardians of the Galaxy. The first of Mr. DC himself. But before that, he was Mr. Guardians. Because actually this is directed by James Gunn, who is a fantastic director. And he really was able to bring out, I feel like, the best of the Guardians. But let's just start immediately by going into the cast. So we start off with having Chris Pratt as Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord. And yeah, you feel his pain. You feel his pain. You can see how he's dealing with it. And I like the way that Chris Pratt portrays Star-Lord as well. I mean, he's a joker, doesn't take everything seriously, but when serious stuff needs to happen, he is serious. And Chris Pratt is a fantastic actor. Next up, we have Zoe Saldana as Gamora. I hope I pronounced that name right. To anyone whose names I pronounced wrong, I apologize. She plays Gamora, the adopted daughter of Thanos, the big purple prick that we saw at the end of the Avengers. And my goodness, does she do a good job. Once again, I love how she can also portray the pain, but she's not really jokey. She is entirely serious. I love the way that she portrays the pain. Fantastic casting, and also the fact that they actually turned her green is something that I also very much love. Because if you do not know this, under that green paint is a black woman, actually. I didn't know that. Like, I saw, like, an interview where, like, I think Gamora and Nebula's actresses were, like, teamed up. And I was like, eh? But which one's which? Because they didn't have the green skin and the blue skin. But she does a really good job at showing Gamora's pain because of the stuff that she has gone through because of Thanos. Because Thanos is, in actuality, I know, surprise, surprise, an actual prick. Next up, we have Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer. And this might be the funniest character in this whole movie. Now, not my favorite, but most certainly the funniest character in this whole movie. Because his race, basically the way it is explained in the movie, his race takes everything seriously. So, a metaphor will go over his head. However, it will not because his reflexes are too fast. He would just catch it. And it's great. And that makes him the funniest character. However, he also has a personal connection with the bad guy of this movie, which is the only real issue with this movie. But he has a personal connection with the bad guy as well. Also, like, all these characters are basically in pain, outside of Groot, I think. Because I don't really know if Groot had, like, a tragic backstory. Because they never really explored, like, Groot's, like, backstory. We know Peter Quill, you know, his mom dies at the beginning of this movie. Not really a spoiler. But his mom dies at the beginning of this movie. Gamora is the daughter of Thanos. Drax lost his family. Rocket was experimented on, but Groot, I don't really know if he has a sad and tragic backstory. Speaking of which, we have Vin Diesel voicing Groot, and for a character who literally only says 3 words, I am Groot, and they got a Vin Diesel. Like, why? They could have gotten some no-name person who could portray Groot, because you don't need this big celebrity. I always found it weird that it was like Vin Diesel as Groot. However, he does say those 3 words very well, and he also has a deep voice, and I like that. And Groot's great in the movie. He's just this fun tree character who can get serious when it needs to happen, but also is just giant and super adorable. Yeah, absolutely. And finally, for the Guardians of the Galaxy, we have Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon. And this has got to be my favorite character in this whole movie, because I love him, especially in this whole franchise. Mainly in Guardians 3, it was like, that is what cemented Rocket as my favorite of the Guardians. But before that, I already like Rocket. He's like the one who likes to tinker with stuff. He likes to build things, mainly bombs and weapons and explosives and all the other blowy-uppy stuff things. But he is the one who fixes stuff. So he has a backstory that we will get to in about 70 other movies. Because there's a lot more to go before we get there. We'll get there, I will say this right now, next year. And I guess next up we have Michael Rooker as Yondu. The person who kidnapped Peter Quill as a child and raised him as part. And also the leader of the Ravagers, the space pirates. Because where you have something with ships, you have pirates. And Yondu, like, once again, Michael Rooker does a fantastic job as Yondu. I really like him in this movie. He is like this minor threat that they're dealing with. Because, like, the main threat is Ronan. But, like, he's like the minor threat. But he's like, you know, basically Peter's dad, kind of, but not really. Because he kidnapped him. But then also raised him instead of going through with why he kidnapped him, which you will learn in the movie. I'm not gonna spoil that. And I like that he cares about Peter, but also just wants to just shoot him. He just wants to put his arrow inside of Peter. Literal arrow. I like that weapon that he has where he just like whistles and there's like this arrow that just flies around. It's such a cool weapon, dude. It is such a cool weapon. Next up, we have Karen Gillan as Nebula, and this is the actual daughter of Thanos. Gamora may be the adopted one and the favorite, but Nebula is the real daughter of Thanos. Like, you don't get a lot yet. I mean, there are a couple more movies where we get more of the backstory, mainly like Guardians 2 and the Avengers Infinity War, where we get like the backstory between like Gamora and Nebula and Thanos. But you can see in this movie that like Thanos just doesn't care. Like, at one point in this movie, he literally talks about Gamora and says that she is his favorite daughter, while Nebula is sitting next to him. Called him a prick before, and I'll continue to call him a prick. He's such a prick. But you can feel like the whole... And also, you can see it at Nebula, because all the mechanical parts that she has in her body. Next up, we have the Collector is also in this movie. We have Benicio del Toro as the Collector. And, my God, what an eccentric actor. Like, the way that he portrays the Collector, it's so good. He portrays it in such a weird way, but such a good way. However, we have already seen the Collector and this actor in Thor: The Dark World, if you sat around during the for the post-credit scene. And finally, I put this guy off for last because of the fact that he's kind of the reason that this movie, you know, like, he's the downhill of this movie. But this guy puts a little dent in Guardians of the Galaxy. We have Lee Pace as Ronan the Accuser. And, well, this is just having a bad guy for the sake of having a bad guy. Now, I like his design, and that's about it. Because his motivation is just, I want power. And that's it. Only power. Nothing else. And it's just, like, he doesn't drag the movie down, but it's like, he's not a good villain. He doesn't have this good backstory like the next movie's villain, or, you know, he's not entertaining like some of the other villains. However, I will say this, he is also not as boring as Malekith from Dark World. I will say that, so he's a step up from that. But overall, he's kind of the dent that this movie has in it. And whether, like, I don't think, he doesn't ruin the movie. Let's just say that. Alright, so, and that's basically the cast that I want to talk about. So, I guess we should just head over to Final Verdict so I can record my spoiler talk. So, my final verdict for Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be a good old-fashioned 9 out of 10. Sorry, can't give it a 10. It is close, though. If this movie had a good villain, easy 10. It's like Iron Man 1 all over again. It is so close to a 10 out of 10. But, like, if it had, like, just a better villain, it would have just reached that 10 out of 10. I love this movie. Throughout the whole movie. You know, like, what I love about this movie as well is kind of what Marvel has lost. Because Marvel takes, like, the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy as, like, the blueprint to do future stuff. And they just throw jokes in wherever. However, I feel like the jokes here work, because also they really let the emotional moments settle in. When something happens, James Gunn lets it play out. James Gunn really shows that he's such a good director, being able to balance comedy and also sad or heart moments. And you know what? I am super excited about what he's gonna do with Superman in the movie Superman, which has been retitled because originally it's called Superman Legacy, but I'm still gonna call it Superman Legacy. Very excited what he does with that, and also with the DC universe. I hope he does something good with it. And this movie is absolutely fantastic, and I would highly recommend that you guys watch it. So comment down below to anyone who has seen this movie. What are your thoughts on this movie? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is Ronan really that bad of a bad guy, or is he just a whatever? Because to me, he's just a whatever. Which one's better, Ronan or Malekith? Comment down below, let me know. And thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please like, man, subscribe if you're new, if you're not already, turn on notifications. Don't forget to check out my Let's Play channel, link in the description and at the end of the video. And I'll see you guys next time for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I know I said I wasn't going to do it anymore, but this time I'm 100% sure that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is next. And we're going to get to that one. So I'll see you then. Bye!